What's going on? Ryan here. If you're a trader or an investor or you're interested in finance, I want you to pay close attention because I'm about to tell you my story as a trader, being involved in finance for over 20 years now. Again, my name is Ryan. I'm 38 years old. I was born and raised in Los Angeles, California. I was raised by a single mother. And when I was younger, I was super blessed that my grandparents, my mom's parents, were avid stock market investors, right? They invested into blue chip stocks. They, created a compound interest generating machine using dividends. And in 1998, when I was about 13, my grandparents started investing into me and teaching me about saving and finance and money and trading, right? Stocks and bonds and mutual funds and ETFs and things like that. And so I didn't really take this seriously until I was in my early 20s, right? My grandfather, through the time from when I was like 13, when I first started learning, up until my 20s, like we would do trades and look at the newspaper, read Barron's, things like that. But it wasn't until my early 20s that I really started to get serious, right? And I started trading options, I started trading futures, I was trading equities. At the same time, I was also playing poker as a professional. And so I studied computer science in college. And all through my 20s, I was playing cards, looking at business, trying to find my way, trading derivatives, like I said, equities, options, futures. And, I had mixed results, right? Sometimes I would make a bunch of money and then I would lose some back. And then I would lose and then I would win. And it was really frustrating. It's probably one of the most frustrating things. If you're an investor or trader, you understand by being in the market, how difficult it can be, right? At times where, external events can, cause the markets to do crazy things, right? The markets, until you really understand how fear and greed drive the market, until you understand, where liquidity lies and how these markets move, until you're able to really get a grasp on your emotions, trading can be very frustrating, right? Different story if you're building a long-term portfolio, you have high-paying job, you're just shoveling cash into ETFs and, letting those dividends build up over time, right? And so I want to tell you this crazy, crazy story because I had been trading options for like 10 years before I met one of my mentors who completely changed my perception of trading and how the biggest traders on Wall Street play this game. So in my early 30s, I had been trading for quite some time, had mixed results, up, down, would make a bunch of money, would lose some back, had to pay bills, was trying to invest in other things, trying to find my way, right? And so one evening, I was just, doing research, trying to think about like who I could find to like really help me tackle this game on a big level, right? And so I kid you not, I made a prayer to God, to the universe, right? Inside of myself, in my spirit. And I'm like, God, you got to send me somebody who can really take me to the top. Like, I don't want to just be average. I want to be great. And, I was well aware of what guys on Wall Street were doing, hedge funds and things like that. And so I kid you not, the next day I woke up and I went down to the 3rd Street Promenade when the Barnes & Noble was still there. And I had this feeling to just go down to the bookstore and look at some finance books, see, try to progress and try to see if there was any valuable knowledge in books. And I had already got a bunch of option trading books, a lot of different books I had looked at. But so I went down to the bookstore and I kid you not, I go into the finance section and the first book I pull off of the bookshelf, there's a guy's card in the book. And I look at this card and I'm like flabbergasted, right? I'm like in complete shock because on the card, it said CTA, Commodity Trading Advisor. And you have to realize I had been trading for 10 years and I had never heard of a CTA or a Commodity Trading Advisor. So I took the card home and I ended up like setting it on my mantle and kind of like ruminating over what just happened, like making this prayer, going down there, wanting to like dive deeper and learn more and try to find a mentor, and then finding this book that had this card in it. And so I waited a couple days and I ended up calling this guy up, and I kind of told him my scenario, and he didn't know me from Adam, right? Like, the guy didn't know who I was, and he ended up becoming a good friend of mine. And when we were on the phone, he's like, you got to meet my mentor who helps people with trading. He's the one who helped me get licensed, who helped me like teach me a bunch of things. So he made an introduction to one of my mentors now, who was down in Orange County. And this guy was a commodity broker for 20 years. He was also a CTA. He was also involved in running introducing brokers, right? So if you're a futures trader, when you go to a broker to get a futures account to trade futures or options, you're going to an introducing broker who creates the account, and then the money is held in a custodian called a futures commission merchant. Okay, and so I didn't know any of this stuff. I ended up going down there and meeting this guy and telling him my story, and like we hit it off, and he loved that I was playing cards. He loved that I was so interested in trading, and he ended up mentoring me, right? And it wasn't free, right? I invested into him and he invested into me, and he ended up teaching me basically from a high level how, as an option and a futures trader, you trade on behalf of clients that can be people, they can be families, they can be endowments, they can be corporations, they can be businesses. And this was one of the most pivotal things that changed my perception of trading in general, right? Because right now, when you see people trading, a lot of people are focused on the strategy and like how you actually make trades, right? And everybody fails to realize that there's another part of this game, which is compliance and raising capital, right? If you're getting your cash from a prop trading firm, you're really doing yourself a big disservice if you're a talented trader and if you know what you're doing, because prop firms are extremely limited, not only in the capital that they provide you, right? Because you have to stay inside their box of risk, and you also have to play by their rules, right? Like you can't do delta neutral strategies inside of a prop firm where you're using options, right? Maybe you're selling calls and puts and using futures to do things, the same things that hedge funds and banks use. You can't do this with prop firms, right? So if you're playing the prop firm game to like raise capital, there is value there in getting quick cash, maybe doing a track record with your particular strategy. But once you get to the next level and you're like, okay, I need to figure out how to raise 5 million, 10 million, 20 million, 50 million, 100 million, whatever it is, however far you want to go with your trading, there comes a point where you naturally will start to look at hedge funds, CTAs, CPO, introducing broker, like how the institutional side of this game is played. Now, I had gotten my licenses. I had been registered with his CTA, with two of his CTAs, and I was building a track record to launch my own program. And I had like so many things go wrong. I had mistakes that I made in trading. I had external events with family and other businesses that I was involved in, but the information and the knowledge that I gained was really timeless, right? It's one of those things where once you kind of figure out how the big guys play this game, it's something that you can take with you forever. And that's kind of how I got on the journey of wanting to create an education component that's going to be a pivotal part of what I'm doing, which is to find traders, find brokers, find capital raisers, find quants, find anybody who's interested in trading or hedge funds or raising capital to play this game on a really big level, right? So that's kind of my story, right? That's kind of how I came to creating the daily option. And my biggest downfall has been not making content, not putting things out. And so I don't have any more time to mess around, right? And so that's why I'm coming out and I'm about to make a lot of content. I'm about to launch this thing into the stratosphere. And if you're a trader, you're an investor, you come from a STEM background, I would love to talk and connect with you. Like, subscribe, follow. I got a lot more content on the way, and I'm very, very, very excited.